Hey guys, Daruma here. So today we're going to do a reconstruction of Yiheng Wang's 3.91 world record average, which was accomplished a few hours ago at the time of recording of this video, but probably isn't going to be when this is released. So for the first solve, Yiheng got a 4.17 second solve, which is amazing. And to set this up, he did the move. Well, the scramble is R2, B2, L2, R2, D2, F2, R2, D prime, L2, D, L, B, F, L prime, D2, U, U prime, F, D, B2, F. And then Yiheng does a rotation during inspection, so he goes like this. And he realizes an X cross concerning this corner piece and this edge piece. So to set these up, he does B2, which sets up this edge, L2 sets up this edge in this corner, which then he can then pair up with this, so he sets it up perfectly. And then he does F to set up this edge, and then D prime, and then L to set up this edge, and then he inserts it using F prime, and then he does U prime to set up this edge in this corner piece, and then he pairs it up by doing L prime. So and it's an extended cross to set up an additional pair after an X cross. So then he inserts this using R, U prime, R prime, and then he inserts this pair right here, and he inserts that by doing U prime, L prime, and then U2, and then L, U prime, L prime, U, L. And then to insert this pair, it's a little bit different because he does a weird rotation instead of doing the Felix insert like that. So he does U prime, and then he rotates, and then he does U prime again. Well, actually, no, he does U2, and then he just inserts by a 3 mover, like R prime, U prime, R. And then he gets this OL, which he executes like U prime, R, U, R prime, U, R prime, F, R, F prime, R, U2, R, which I think is just the standard algorithm. And then for PLL, he just, I actually don't remember if he does this on the top face because he has kind of weird PLLs. Wait, let me see. So he does do it on the top face. Okay, so he does U, and then he does R2, D2, R, U prime, R, D2, and then R prime, U, R prime, and then he rotates back down and does the orientation like that, the AUF or whatever it's called, and then that's how he accomplished that in 4.17 seconds. Okay, for the second solve, Yiheng gets a 3.7 something, which I think is really an amazing solve. I mean, Yiheng is like so good, especially his TPS, which I can't do. Now, is the setup for this solve is u prime L2 d prime B2 F2 U2 B2 L2 U prime F2 L D prime U2 L D prime B prime L prime B2 L2 R2 U prime. And then what happens is Yiheng does a rotation during inspection like this, and then he executes his X cross by doing F2, and then he does R to insert this edge, and then he does B to insert this edge, and also this corner piece, and then he does L2 to insert this edge, and then he does U2, and then he does D, and then to insert this edge right here, he does R. So, and that also made this X cross with that one corner and that one edge, because he aligned them well, he also aligned the other pieces of his cross. So then, after doing this, he inserts this 3 mover right here. So he does L prime, U prime, L. And then he rotates. Wait, let me check which way he rotates. Okay, so he rotates this direction. So for the third pair, he rotates like this, and then he does U2, and then he does R. Wait, let me make sure this is right. Oh, he does R prime, and then he does F, R, and then he does F prime, R prime, R, and then he does U, R prime, and that inserts this pair, but then he just inserts this, he just inserts this pair like the 3 move or whatever, so he just, well, it's actually 4 moves, but he does it like U prime, L, L prime, U, L. And then he gets this OL, and what happened, and the way he does this is U prime, and then he does the standard algorithm, which is R wide prime, U, R2, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, and then R2, U, and then R wide prime. And then for the PLL, he just puts this over there, and then he does the standard algorithm for the F perm, which is like R, U, F, and then so on, then he solves it. So for the third solve, I think he got another 3-second solve. So I'm gonna see what that was in a second. So yes, so the last solve was a 3.74, but then he got a 3.7. Like, that consistency is crazy. It really is. He might actually be the GOAT, I'm not sure. So for this one, he got a 3.7 solve. And to set this up, moves L2, U2, F2, U, F2, D, L2, D, R2, D, L, R prime, B prime, D prime, R prime, F2, L, F, D2, U2, R2. And let me make sure I set that up right. I think I did. And during inspection, Yiheng rotates it. So let me see how he rotates it. Okay, so he has it like, oh yes, I forgot the U. Okay, so then he rotates it like this. And then from here he does U, D, R, R wide, F prime, R2 to set up the cross. And he doesn't get an X cross. But then he does the first pair like U prime, R, U, R. And then he does the second pair by doing a rotation. So he does Y prime, and then he does Y, L, and then he does a 3 mover. So he does L prime, U prime, L. And then he does, for the third pair, he does R, U prime, R, and then Y rotation, and then he does U prime, and then he does L, U prime, L, which inserts this pair. And then for the fourth pair, he just does the standard insertion, except he does a sledgehammer to avoid the dot case. So he inserts it like this: R, U, R prime, U, and then a sledgehammer, so like that. And it gives him a better case than if he would have done like, wait, that's not how he inserted it. If he would have done it like this, he would have gotten that case. But instead, he got this case. So, and then for OOL, he does a U move, which this OOL he got in his first scramble. So this is crazy. He got the same OOL and the same average. Like, so he already did this OOL. So I know how he does it. He puts it to this side, and then he does this course, and then for the PL, he just got an easy Y perm. So he just puts it like this, and then he does his algorithm, and he solves the cube. So for the third solve, he got a 3.81, which is very impressive. Like, he got like 3 sub-3s in a row, and that is crazy. So for this one, the scramble was, as usual, probably on the green face and with the white on top. So then the scramble is B2, D prime, F2, D, L2, U, F2, U, U2, wait, no. Yeah, U2. And then L2, D prime, F prime, D, B, R prime, U prime, L2, D, R prime, B prime, L2, B prime. Okay, so once Yiheng sees the scramble, he looks around, but he also rotates using a Y rotation. So he goes like this. And then after that, he plants an X cross on the yellow face. And the way he does this, the way he executes it is he does U, L, D prime, and then he changes these two edges out so that that edge is in its rightful place, and then he can insert the other edge later. So then he does, well, first before he does that, he does U2, and then he does B2, and then he does R, and you see that B2 inserted this edge and this corner. So, and then he does R, so, and then he just does D, U prime, and then R, and that inserts this edge, and it pairs up this, so it makes an X cross. So then he pairs up the second pair by doing F prime, and then inserting this edge as a 3-mover. So doing F prime, U prime, F, and then he does a third pair by pairing these two up. So he does L prime, no, not L prime, L, and then U, L prime. And then for the fourth pair, he has to rotate, so he does a Y rotation, and then he does U, R, U prime, R prime, U, and then Y prime rotation, and then U, R prime, U prime, R. And then he gets this algorithm, or he gets this OL, and instead of doing the normal algorithm, he does an OLCP. So he does U2, and then he does F wide R, and then U, R prime, U prime, F wide prime. And then he gets this easy PLL, which is, I think, a U B perm? Maybe it's a UA perm, I'm not sure. Anyway, but he does an EPLL here, which is basically RU, R prime, U, R prime, U prime, R2, U prime, R prime, U, R prime, U, R, U. And then that solves the cube. And that's how he solves the fourth solve. Okay, so for the last solve, Yiheng got a 4.93, which is the worst in the average overall, which is crazy because that's amazing solve still. And this is kind of a hard scramble, I think, and that's why. But the average was pretty much guaranteed by that time. So the scramble is D, B2, U, B2, U2, B2, R2, U2, L2, U prime, F prime, D2, F2, D, F prime, R prime, D prime, F2, D, B, F prime. And Yiheng does 2 rotations in this scramble, during inspection. So he rotates Z2, and then he rotates Y. So, and then he plans an X cross, even though there's not much material here. So he does F prime, he does F prime to insert this edge instead of this one, swap it out, and then he does U, R2, B prime to insert this edge, and then he does R to insert this edge, and then he does L prime, U prime L D prime to pair these two up. So it goes like that. And then that makes it the X cross. So then to pair up the second pair, he does U2 R prime. U2 R prime. And then U prime R L prime U L to insert it like that. So, and then he does a rotation, and then he does L prime U L U prime R U R prime to insert this edge by doing a 3-mover. And then for the fourth pair, he does U L prime U L U prime L prime U L2 F prime L prime F to insert it, instead of just doing the triple sexy move insert that he could have done. Then he gets this OL, which I've never seen it done at this angle, but he does it here instead of here. And he does R U2 R U R prime U prime R U R prime U R wide. And then that solves OL. So then he recognizes this PLL. So then he does U R U prime R prime U prime R U R D R prime U prime D R D prime R U2 R prime U. Okay, I must have done something wrong, but basically that's how he solves the average. So thank you for watching this, and if you want to support me more, then you can comment down below, and you can tell me what you want me to make in the future. And also make sure to subscribe, because I'm trying to hit well, more than 1 subscriber preferably, but maybe like 10 subscribers would be nice, at least. I'm also making I'd say probably like 2 algorithms a week on the shorts, so if you want more of those too, then you can subscribe to get more of that content. I'll try to make one video a week, but I'm not sure how that's gonna work out. But yeah, thank you for watching. And congratulations to Yiheng, because this world record was amazing.